Welcome and welcome back, fiber friends, to yet another episode of the Wool to Gold podcast. As you can see, we're in the new studio and we have an ungodly amount of undyed white wool that frankly I just need to get a little color on before I can start processing. This is 2 Rommeldale sheep's worth of white wool that I purchased at Maryland Sheep and Wool this past year, and I have fully scoured up. So the first thing that we have to do is mordant the wool and also start to prepare the dyes. So the dyes that I've chosen to use today are Safflower, I'm pretty sure I'm going to use Safflower, and Logwood. I'm pretty sure both of them need to be like pre-soaked for a certain amount of time in order to release the dyes. So while that's happening, we're going to start mordanting some of this wool so that we can dye it up. Okay, just a little check-in. We are mordanting the wool. I was doing all my measurements and things on my little center counter here. Here is the safflower. So here's the thing. I have about 2 ounces of ground safflower petals. And the suggestion is that if you want like the most vibrant color, that you use the same, like the weight of the fiber essentially in the weight, like the same amount of weight for the fiber as the weight of the dye. That's what I'm trying to say. Oh my gosh. And so I don't know how vibrant of a yellow we're going to get with the safflower, but I really want to give it a try. And then over the next few days, if I go thrifting and I find something cotton that I want to dye, second, you get 2 colors from the safflower. You get 1 pull of yellow, and then you can get a pull of pink if you mix it with soda ash and re-soak it a second time. And so I'm trying to figure out what I should dye with the pink dye that I get, because I really want to use it. I don't want to waste it. And then, of course, we have Old Reliable. We have some logwood here. I need to soak these chips as well to extract the dye, but I realized that I don't have any containers that, these containers that I'm going to use are going to be dye containers. It's not safe to store food in them after you store something like a dye in there, even if it is a natural dye. A lot of natural dyes are not safe to ingest. So after I'm done mordanting some of this wool, I had already promised myself that I was going to go out seashell hunting because it's going to be low tide around like 3 o'clock. And I haven't really gotten to proper swim in the beach yet, and so while this wool is mordanting, I'm gonna change. I'm gonna get ready to go do that. But while I'm out seashell hunting, what I'm also going to do is pick up containers that I am okay being disposed of, so that I can soak the logwood and the safflower dye and extract the color from them. Okay, so I'm about to pay for parking and then go shell hunting. I'm probably gonna try to do like a sanding fit check. But just preemptively, we got the 100% linen shirt, J. Crew, thrifted, obviously, because your boy does not have the budget for that. Crocheted shell bag, okay? I'm gonna fill it with shells, and hopefully you'll see it again when it's all full. 5 Below sunglasses, all right. The swimwear today, the top, I always forget, I forget what brand it is, but it's like a super well-known binder brand that I really do like their binders, TBH, and I really do like their swimwear. I think it was worth the money. It was a good investment. I haven't really swum in it in the ocean yet, but I have in my pool, and it was great. So, and then my trunks, I'm gonna have to show them off, but they are vintage jockey. They're very cute. I really like them. I like the length that they are, obviously. Yeah. Let's go shell hunting. So shell hunting ended up being a total bust. However, I went swimming and I went for a walk. The wool is drying. I got these containers. Let's fill them up and start preparing our dye stuff. So like I mentioned, I'm going to be dumping all of the safflower in here because I have about 2 ounces and I want a pretty potent yellow. Okay, so the dye sat overnight. It's looking pretty dark, pretty viscous, pretty dang purple. When I move the dye around, you can kind of see more of the true color, which is definitely kind of pink. I really like the color it is right now. I do think I'm gonna add more water, and then I do have to heat it for about an hour to start to extract more of the dye. And then I'm going to, I made this like little like filter glass, right? I'm gonna slowly filter all the chips out, and then I am gonna save the chips because you really can use them multiple times, especially if you mash them up more. And so I kind of want to set them aside and just save them for next time. Also, a little update on the Safflower dye. It looks really pink in here, but I promise it's like this crazy dark yellow orangey color. So I'm also going to have to filter this, but I can only really do, that's not true. Yeah, I actually can only really do one at a time right now. I don't know. I need to get the wool outside that I have out of the mordant water and maybe onto a towel, and then I can use that container to drain this and get the yellow dye. Okay, yeah, that's gonna be the plan. That's gonna be the plan. We're gonna try to get 2 done at once because it's early. It's like first thing in the morning. It's just turning 9 a.m. now. So I'd really like to get a lot done today. And then maybe if I do get enough done before like, I don't know, before like 11, I'm gonna maybe try to go to either the farmer's market or there was somewhere else that I was gonna try to go today, but maybe it should be the farmer's market because that's all I can remember. Okay, so things are really looking quite good here. We have the purple on the right side. We have the yellow on the left. It hasn't gone under heat, but you can see I love, 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 love this color. I don't know, it reminds me of Easter eggs. I'm gonna put some wool in very, very soon. This is how I ended up extracting it. So ignore my kind of dirty sink. This is the safflower. If you smell safflower soaking, you'll probably note that it smells a little bit similar to chamomile. And it does remind me of some teas that I've drank in the past, but I don't really know if it's like safe to ingest. I have no idea. I have been squeezing it out with these gloves, and then I have a cheesecloth. So I went with the cheesecloth instead of the coffee filter because it just needs a little bit more drainage. The cheesecloth is just faster, honestly. But yeah, as I drain it into here, I empty it into here. And then again, we're gonna add the wool soon. I'm gonna have to drain the logwood in a little bit. As you can see, it's really starting to take on that notorious like darker purple color. And I'm gonna take it off of heat in like 10 minutes. It doesn't need to be heated for a super long time. Okay, so I just want to show you guys a little clip before I bring this outside and put it on heat. I think I'm gonna cook this one out on my balcony because it needs to be cooked for like at least an hour, and I just think it's gonna like heat up my apartment really fast. It's really hot outside too, so I hope it'll like ease maintaining the heat in the vat. But yeah, I just think, I'm really excited. I really want some like bright, sunshiny yellow wool, a la Mine Woolen, who if you don't watch, you really should. Really great fiber artist here. But she inspired me to want to make some naturally dyed yellow wool. There's actually a ton of different natural dyes that can yield you a yellow, so I've been experimenting with a number of them. I think on Mine Woolen's channel, what she ended up doing was she dyed with dyer's mushrooms, which I haven't been able to get my hands on yet, but maybe I can find somebody like locally that grows them or something like that. But obviously today we're using safflower, and then I've also used Osage orange chips to get yellow before as well. But I kind of like that this yellow is like a little bit more orange leaning. I kind of like the shade a little bit better, so I'm excited to see how the finished wool turns out. A quick update, here are the saved logwood chips. I have them in an outside container to dry out. I have to mix this with some soda ash in order to extract the pink dye, so I think I might wait until I have something that like is made of a plant material that I can dye pink, because it needs to be something that can be dyed without going under heat. So wool is kind of like out of the, not an option for this one. We have our yellow wool, which is cooling. I think the color turned out really, really nice. Obviously, I won't really know until it's dried, but I'm gonna try to see if I can save what's left of the dye and get another batch of dyeing done with it. Maybe like a butter yellow or something like that is what I'm imagining. I do have this bad boy on the wheel. This is the raspberry lemonade bat that I blended up. and it's looking pretty good so far. I still need to find those beads that I'm unpacking. I did get Logwood dye on my hands, unfortunately, which is pretty rough. And then over here is, ooh, if I turn on the light, I'll probably be able to see it better. It's looking pretty dark right now, but I know that once I like rinse the fiber and take it out, there's probably gonna be like leftover dye. So I'm probably gonna try to get a batch of like lilac or like pastel purple out of this afterwards. I'm gonna try to use the dye stuff twice. I need more containers to like save the dye stuff in, because this one ended up having a crack in it. So I can't put the dye stuff in there. And before I can dye any more wool, I actually need to mordant more wool. I have so much wool that needs to get mordanted over here. There's just like bags and bags of it everywhere. So that's probably what we're gonna do next. We're mordanting round 2 of the wool. We have this dye stock left, and there's still plenty of color in here, so we're definitely gonna do a round 2 on this one, and there's even more right behind it. And then I do have the same thing going out here. So we're mordanting more wool, and then hidden behind it is all of the Safflower dye stock. There's still, I think, at least a nice amount of color I can get out. And then here is the wool. I think it came out so nice. The yellow is super vibrant, and the purple is crazy vibrant. I really like the way this one came out. Forgive me, fiber friends, you can totally hear my dryer going, just like ignore that. Next batch of Logwood dye. I used everything that was in the pot, but I still do have like 1 jar. The thing about Logwood is, in my experience, it does oxidize fairly quickly. So if I need to top this up, it's like not the end of the world, because I am afraid the dye is not gonna like be the same color or be as potent if I wait until like tomorrow or like later this week, God forbid, to actually use it. Alrighty, fiber friends, it is a few days later. It has been a bit rainy here, but it's also been sunny, so the fiber's drying, but slowly. I did want to show you the results though, kind of before I sign off. Here are the yellows. Up here is like the first dye. I feel like you can't even tell with the second dye, which is why I'm gonna try to get another round of yellow, hopefully, out of that batch of dye, and why I saved it. And then as far as the Logwood goes, this one's not completely dry, but it did come out really dark. Super duper dark. As you can see, it came out really nice. And then this one back here, I think also came out really nice. It's still pretty damp though, so I think it's gonna lighten up a fair amount compared to the way it looks now. But I do think that is going to be all for now, fiber friends. That's all I have to share with you for now. Obviously, I'm going to end up carding up that wool probably into bats. Oh my gosh, look at the bamboo fiber behind me. A spoiler alert for one of the upcoming episodes, I'm going to be spinning some summer fiber soon, and so if you want to see that, don't forget to subscribe. If you liked this video, if you want to see more natural dyeing in the future, don't forget to leave a like, leave a comment, tell me all about it. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in to the Wool to Gold podcast. I'll see you on the next one.